Hello friends and welcome back to another Sheepy 7 video. Today I'm finishing Shusagi's reference page from the last video. In that last video I drew his pixel art version that I like to include on these reference sheets. I'm drawing this reference sheet very much similar to how Shuiji's is drawn. A main front facing body shot, 3 different angles of him, side, 45 degree and back facing, a face shot of him doing a funny face, and lastly his palette and name. For his palette, I couldn't really decide on what color to make him for a while. I was undecided between green, a dark gray, pink, and his now current color, yellowish gray. And I have drawings of him in these different colors. To decide on his final color, I looked at some of my favorite Pokemon and I saw Meowth and I was thinking, that's a pretty good color. But I didn't want him to be the same color, so his color is a bit darker in value. So now about Shusagi himself. He's a very smug little guy. He's also best friends with Shuiji. And if I were to describe their dynamic, it would be that Shusagi thinks he is smart, but he's actually on the dumber side. While Shuiji acts dumb, but he's actually on the smarter side. And before they were friends, they were actually a bit of enemies. That is because, not to drop too much into the lore of all my characters here, but when Shuiji first came to their modified version of Earth, he turned a lot of people into anthropomorphic humans, combining them with different furry creatures. Shusagi was a normal boy, but then he evolved essentially, and is now what he is. And because of that, he ended up becoming a popular star in this modified world, because he's very cute. But the problem with that is that he doesn't like being known for being cute. So therefore, he said he would get revenge on Shuiji. But that is lore for another time. Unfortunately, ArtFight is almost over, with only a day left. But today I am excited because I have received my first unprompted attack. Or it's not revenge. It's not because I attacked them first, or friendly fired. So I received this piece from renzr, and I was very excited because it has both of my silly little guys in it, which I like very much. I love the way how Shuiji is smiling and Shusagi looks annoyed, because that is how they would be. So yeah, I'm very happy, and of course I will be friendly firing back / revenging. After looking at their profile, I think the character I like the most to draw is Axel here. He has a very cool design and he's holding a gun, which I do want to draw. So now I will be reading his description. Axel, he/him, essentially is the odd one out of the group, considering at the beginning he was hunting them down as a part of an agency that captures rogue robots. Hunting them down, I think, meaning the owner's other characters. Eventually, he leaves that life behind and befriends the crew. Axel is a serious stoic, very much the businessman that you'd think he is. Cold, calculating, he does his job precisely. without thinking too much of the moral conflicts. Because of this, it's hard to get close to him, and he doesn't let anyone into his heart easily. However, there is a very different side to this ice-cold soldier that the crew has yet to discover. And then we always look at the permissions for the character. Basically, no not safe for work or major gore. And they also say they love when people draw their OCs with their characters. So that's what I think I will be doing today. Now, I do think I would have a better character than what's on my profile right now, except I don't really have their art sheet drawn, so I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'll either draw them or I'll draw Bloop Bloop Man, because even though his personality would not get along with Axel here, I think I could still make a funny image out of that. And that was my ideas for that, basically. Alright, so starting off with a rough sketch of Shuiji here. ArtFight only had a few hours left by the time I finally got to making this art piece. I believe it was only 4 hours. Because of the time crunch and the fact that I hadn't drawn in a few days before this, I did have a bit of art block at first with drawing Shuiji. When I was making his sketch, I made his body too big and his head looked a little wonky. But I was able to fix that all after warming up a bit. I had originally thought to just do a single picture like the rest of my ArtFight arts. But I kind of wanted it to be special since it was the last one. And I mean, this guy did an art piece for me unprompted like the other arts I did. So I felt like that was also special. So I thought maybe to do a comic page, because I do like drawing those. But I felt like that wouldn't fit exactly how I wanted it to. So I went ahead and did a whole animation. And also to challenge myself to finally get something done without taking so dang long on an art piece. Now, this isn't my first animation ever, but it is my first pixel art animation I've ever made. I tried to keep things on different layers to make it a bit easier to move things around to save some time. After this video was made, I did finally start making palettes on Procreate for my original characters. That way I don't have to keep using reference images of my own characters for the colors. When I first went into drawing this, I had no idea what to even do for the animation. I just had a very general idea. But as I was drawing, I thought of what to do for the animation. I figured Shuiji should be waving and saying hello, because this would be his first time meeting Axel here. So I started with getting his hand and arm to move. I did use the select tool to move his arm, but each time it messed up the pixels, so I had to do a lot of corrections to get it correct. Once I had the wave done, I needed some more movement on Shuiji's character so it didn't look as static. I made his big orange whisker pieces move at the very tips. I also thought it would be cute if his nose moved a bit too. And to make it look like he is breathing, I made it so he moved one pixel down and up on some random frames. I didn't give him any blinking frames on purpose. If he is interested in something like he is now, he wouldn't take even a second of attention off of it. I realized when I was testing through the frames here that the arm looked off on the breathing frame, so I fixed that. I've never really done speaking frames, so I ended up mouthing hello myself to kind of see how he should do that. I thought to maybe put a face on the speech bubble, but I decided against it. For Axel here, I did forget to turn on OBS, so the sketching part wasn't recorded. His design is very cool. It was hard to draw the gun though. I wasn't sure if it would look like a gun at all from a front-facing angle. So I found a reference picture that was tilted slightly, and I used that to draw the gun you're seeing now. And when I was looking up other pictures, they were all side angles of guns. So that didn't help very much. I really liked drawing his suit. almost gave Axel surprised eyes, but then when I thought about it more, I realized it wouldn't fit his character type, so I changed the pixels a bit to look more fit with that. I gave Axel breathing frames similar to Shuiji. I also gave him some blinking scenes because I thought it would fit in with his thinking frames. I believe at this point I only had an hour or two left, but I wanted him to do a final sort of turn, so I did have to redraw his body for each of these to get it to look like he is turning, which was probably the hardest part of this animation, besides finding a good reference picture for the gun. It was good that I liked drawing his suit because I had to draw it a lot of times to make this movement happen. And overall, I'd say this final animation piece turned out very good, and I'm pretty proud of the movement I was able to add to it.